Brews.
We're dudes.
We're dudes.
Listen to tunes.
Listen to tunes.
Drinking some brews.
Drinking some brews.
We're dudes.
We're dudes.
Listen to tunes.
Listening to tunes.
And drinking some brews.
And drinking some brews. That.
Now I stood out there.
Hello and welcome to this week's installment of
Wdtb.
Dudes, Tunes, and Brews.
Yeah, the freaking telethon recap of the 2020.
This is part 4 of our limited series.
Yeah, this is 4 of many.
Mini.
I don't know if there's an actual number or not. We just
We don't know what number it is yet because we're just doing this to be several weeks ahead on our editing duties.
Is anything finite?
Hey, you heard any good jokes lately?
Hey, I heard one. What do you get when you cross a mole with a mountain? A John. John Molehill, that is.
Oh, is that a poop joke?
I think it's a Chris Wolf. But anywho, yeah, John Molehill. That guy, man, I was very surprised. We hadn't vetted him before the show.
I never talked to him.
He showed up prior to the show. We had a few conversations. I saw that he could play guitar, but he didn't tell any jokes. I actually didn't think he was very funny when I first met him.
Really?
And he gets up on the stage and he's telling these freaking good jokes, man.
He had some pretty good jokes.
He was topical in terms of like including everybody that was in the show. He was making fun of me a little bit.
A little bit.
I don't know if he got involved you or not. He might have been a little intimidated by you.
I get that a lot.
You guys, it would be a good fight.
He'd kick my ass.
But I will say, I was very impressed with John. We did have a few minor technical difficulties.
Towards the end of his second set.
Because his jokes were that good.
His jokes were that good that cut the stream off. It blew up the stream.
He actually, he stalled the internet.
Yeah, the internet was just like wrapped around his finger for about 10 minutes.
So without further ado, John, I want you to have a cigar. And I want you to show the world what you're about, and hopefully the world can see how funny you are on this episode of Wdtb.
Dudes, Tunes, and Brews.
2020 Telethon.
Telethon. John Molehill, everybody.
More like a mountain.
Hey, get the lights. Introduce to you, John Molehill, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Harlow. Yeah. Welcome to the Dudes, Tunes, and Brews 2020 Telethon. What a night of entertainment we got for you. Make sure you remember to call 575-378-DUDE, D-U-D-E. We really appreciate your support. So, not long back, I got a call from Josh. He was like, hey man, can you do this telethon? I was like, well, hell yeah, I can do this telethon. I was like, what noble cause are we raising money for? Let me guess. We're gonna raise money for starving artists so they can feed their freaking kids. Am I close? He's like, well, not exactly, but that's a great idea. He really did like the idea. So if you want to give to that, do that too. But he was like, nah, man. And he kind of stopped and he got choked up a little bit. And he was like, man, we're actually trying to raise money to replace the 12 folding chairs that my ex got in the divorce. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me, dude? I think we found one of the reasons she might have left you. I was like, I mean, no offense, but you put the chair in charity. He's like, man, that's harsh. I was like, sorry, dude. I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's a little weird to do a telethon for 12 folding chairs, especially in the middle of a pandemic. I was like, what are you gonna do? Like, set the folding chairs up around your dinner table so you can have some weird Last Supper fetish film? I can just see your God complex blowing up. If this is your cry for help, buddy, we're there for you, Josh. So he's like, nah, man, I just want to be able to have more people over because Josh is that kind of dude, and so is Harlow. So please support their show. It kicks ass. And not getting paid a lot for this unless you guys donate. Over 2% of all donations go directly to the show, so you don't find that in very many other telethons. The other day, I was watching The Magician out back, and he was with Rash the Clown, and I was like, what is that magician doing? He's pouring powder all over Rash the Clown. I'm like, hey, what are you doing, magician? They were like, it's Gold Bond. I'm trying to make Rash disappear. I was like, dude, that is terrible. Please stick to magic. Let me stick to the jokes. Man. So we were sitting around in the green room yesterday during rehearsal, and we were talking about how badass Rash the Clown is. I mean, he fits his whole body through a friggin' tennis racket. Hopefully you saw it earlier. If not, go back and watch it, because it's amazing. So anyway, I was like, well, what if we slip him a Viagra in one of his drinks? Do you think he can still get through the racket? So, of course, we had to try it. We snuck a Viagra in there. I swear, dude, I have a whole new respect for Rash the Clown. It took him almost 4 hours, but he got through that son of a bitch. I thought for a second we were going to have to call a doctor. So, there's an artist here. We got all kinds of artists here. A lot of talented people. There's a lot more music to come up. More Rash the Clown. Please stick around. Please call 575-378-DUDE and help support this awesome show. I have an aspiring artist at home. She's 3 years old. And the other day she waddled up to me and she's like, Dad, can I color? And I said, well, you're not near as good as your older sister. And she started crying and goes, no, Dad, I mean, I want to color. And I was like, well, you obviously need the freaking practice. I mean, we got artists here at this show tonight. Quit telling all these little shits they're artists. Quit hanging up pictures on the fridge and going, oh, this looks just like Mommy and Daddy. No, it doesn't. It looks like freaking scribbles, because that's what it is. Do you think Michelangelo's parents hung shit up on the refrigerator? No. They made the little booger work for it. You don't get great and paint churches until you practice. So my son came up to me. He's like, Dad, can I get a surprise? I was like, sure, I'll give you a big surprise, but go clean your room first. So he ran off and he shoved a bunch of crap into the closet and under his bed. He come running back in 45 seconds. He's like, Dad, I'm done. What's my surprise? So I got down and looked my son in the eyes and I said, son, you were adopted. Yeah. He didn't think that was so funny. My 8th grade daughter, she came up to me the other day and she was like, Dad, can I date an older boy? I said, hell no. What do you mean older, like a week? She was like, well, he's actually a freshman in high school. I said, no. Ask yourself what's wrong with that jackass that he can't find somebody his own age. And I know, because I was just like him. And your mother fell for it. So, I think there's this other crazy thing going on. If you see these kids lately, you can't have a conversation without them being like, oh, yeah. Well, it's called TikTok, and they're doing all this weird dancey stuff, and they can't talk unless they're doing this weird dancey stuff. Yeah, Dad, totally. Did Stephanie call? School's okay, whatever, Dad, I hate you. And I'm like, what is going to happen when these kids grow up and get a real job, whatever that is? I can just see Dr. TikTok walking into the room. Yeah, it looks like you got a mass on the brain, but no big deal. We're going to be able to probably remove it, and you'll probably be okay. And I'm like, maybe air traffic controller, but we're probably going to lose a few planes. So, I don't think we really need to worry too much about their future, because things are kind of screwy lately, if you haven't noticed. But I'm still optimistic. I figure, well, if we can vote, voting is like bobbing for apples in a toilet. That's our future right now. Yeah, sure, you might pull out an apple or two, but you're going to put up with a lot of crap first. My dad's always saying, "Can you get Mama another glass of water from the toilet?" He means well. Have you ever sat on the toilet so long that you had to poop again? My mom's always saying, "Why can't you be more like your brother?" Which doesn't sound that bad until you know he died at birth. The reason I'm so fat is my mom always put me in timeout in the pantry. She literally tried to make a mountain out of a molehill. Thank you. I had a horrible dream last night. God, it was awful. I don't remember most of it, but I do remember I woke up when they tried to force me to eat salad. I like to eat my dessert for breakfast and breakfast for dinner, and hell, sometimes I'll have lunch for dessert. Why? Because I have an eating disorder. So, it must have taken a really long time to open up the very first antique store. And probably took even longer to fill it with folding chairs. That's my time. I got one more set later. Please call 575-378-DUD. 575-378-DUD. If you can't get through the phone lines, keep calling back or you suck. Thank you.
Oh man,
John Molehill.
John Molehill, that was a good set.
My
Thank you.
goodness.
I really liked the eating disorder joke. That was the disorder. That was a thinker.
Yep.
A thinker. I like that one.
Like eating disorder of fries.
Oh, and then the one about he means well.
Yeah, that was good.
That was
That's
good.
pretty great. A nice play on words there. That was really fantastic.
That was.
I didn't, we didn't vet you for the show. We just went with it. You came highly recommended by all your fans. So we said, well, we'll try him out. Didn't know what you had to offer. Haven't seen any of your stuff.
Well, I appreciate it.
Where can the people at home find additional content?
Just John Molehill, Facebook, Instagram. I'm John Molehill, at John Molehill. You can find me.
Okay. Do you have stuff on the? Do you post some of your live, any of your live events? Like, have you?
I do have a YouTube channel, and it's also John Molehill. Right now, I only have a little bit of content, but I am going to put some stand-up on there soon. Probably one of my first shows, and maybe slowly release some other stuff as I develop new material.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah.
Is stand-up a recent development for you, or have you been doing it for a while?
Yeah, I've been doing it for a couple of years. I've been writing and actually started hitting the stage and doing open mics in January.
Okay.
Then the pandemic hit, and so I've been doing what I can. I really appreciate being a part of this, and I'm willing to do whatever. I love to do comedy and make people laugh.
Well, we really liked your. Everybody here liked your set.
Oh yeah,
it was
great.
good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So yeah, that was John Molehill with some original stand-up comedy.
But wait, there's more!
This is the end of side 1. Please flip cassette over for the exciting continuation of this episode. Thank you.
Dudes endeavors. Up next, we have the comedy stylings of John Molehill for the second time. I'm excited. He killed for his first set. If you missed it, you're gonna have to wait till this whole thing's over, then go back and find where his set was. And good luck with that. You have to watch the whole thing to find it, and that's okay. I have no problem with that. But up next, we have Mr. John Molehill.
Woo! Hello! Dudes Brews! Woo! Yeah! So, anyway, Josh got on me a little bit. He was like, I told you the folding chairs were important, but you forgot to mention the field trip to Miller Brewing Factory. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Lottie freaking da. I was like, you do realize that people actually go to that factory every single day and they get paid to go there. It's called a job. So I'm thinking, call in 575-378-DUDE. Give us some money so we can send Josh and Harlos to the friggin' factory where they can fill out an application, get a job, and buy a fucking lawn chair like a real American. There's your 12 folding chairs, Josh. I talked about the field trip. We're good now. God. Crash the Clown was like, man, if you see me walking around later, that's just gold bond medicated powder. I was like, dude, I'm not, no judgments here, man, no judgments. So, when Josh asked me to do this telethon, I was like, I don't know, man, I've never done a telethon. He was like, well, just be there, just be funny, just do your thing, man, it'll be great. I was like, well, that kind of reminded me of when I was starting out on stand-up. Because I'd go do open mics and the comedians would come up to me and they'd be like, hey, man, good job, man, but try to be a little more funny. And I'm like, wow, that's a great idea. Just make people laugh. I was like, great, thanks, Mr. Obvious. I was like, what do I do to get there? He's like, well, you got to work on your stage image a little bit. You need to meet so-and-so. You need to do this. You probably need to do that, and you need to work on this. And I was like, whoa, hold on a second, Yoda. I said, why don't you just tell me everything you've done so far so I don't get stuck in this shithole too? This other guy was like, well, if you want to get good at comedy, you got to read this book called The Truth in Comedy. I said, whoa, hold on a second. If it's a real job, I was like, yeah, I meant one that pays my bills. So this other chick, she was like, well, people love and press that theory. Here it goes. If you had any brains, you'd be dangerous. That's my dad. So, I was getting calls earlier. People were giving us crap because they're like, that's pretty unprofessional for the comedian to show up for a telethon with work boots and sweatpants. Real classy. I look like somebody that can't decide if they want to go to work or wander aimlessly around Walmart at 2 o'clock in the morning. I look like somebody that's been on a 100-hour video game binge and I finally wandered out of mom's basement for more Doritos and energy drinks. I look like someone that gave up on life over 10 years ago, but I just don't have the balls to kill myself. But what I actually look like is someone that thought this telethon was going to be on Zoom. You're lucky I even have pants on. So, I love it when parents say, I love you to the moon and back. Because I'm like, that sounds impressive, but your mommy literally just picked the closest thing to planet Earth that you could find. Let's be a little impressive here. Let's think outside the galaxy. Let's not put a limit on mommy love. So my buddy asked me, hey man, do you ever laugh during sex? I said, no, I usually don't get it. Yeah. My wife told me, my wife said, you need to quit being so rough during sex. I said, it's none of her business how I masturbate. I call my penis Bruce Banner, not just because it's experimental, but because he swells up every time he gets messed with. So, I think Groupon is kind of a weird name for a coupon company. To me, it sounds more like a polite way of saying gangbang. I mean, it doesn't sound bad when you say, hey, let's do a Groupon. It's all relative, said the inbred. I'm never late to the same place twice because I can't relate. Wah, wah, wah. Some say the grass is greener on the other side, but I digress. Some people have an issue with me being a dyslexic cross-dresser, but I dress. I think one of the weirdest things about this whole virus thing that we got going on is this weird elbow bump thing. I'm like, it sounds good until you actually think about it. It's like, we're supposed to wash our elbows. How many of you people wash your elbows for 20 seconds? How many of you wash your elbows? Yeah, we hold up doors, set them on the counter, blah, 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 bathroom toilet seat. Bump elbows, baby. There's a virus, it can't possibly get right here. Right here's a no-go zone for virus. I'm like, I know we wash our hands every 5 seconds and dip them in alcohol snot, but let's bump elbows that we never wash. So anyway, be safe. Take what you can to be safe. Do your sanitizer, whatever, but
Hello, hey, Harlow Santana here, Dudes, Tunes, and Brews. You know, I'm sitting here compiling and editing the John Molehill episode, and we had a lot of good footage, a lot of good times. It was a good night. But in trying to preserve this footage for the future, we learned that this second half of John Molehill's act was cut off because the microphone was lost. I don't know if a cable got tripped, if there was just some technical difficulties, but rest assured, Kevin, the sound guy, he's gone. We fired him. He does not have a job anymore. I think he's going to be down at the KFC doing stuff. So if you want to see Kevin, the sound guy, the former sound guy, go down to KFC, get a bucket of chicken, and say, "Hey, Kevin, thanks for ruining that cool episode of Dudes, Tunes, and Brews." All right? So that's all I got to say about that. Sorry, that's the end. Hope you enjoyed what we had. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, we're the dudes, and they're worth your follows. So go ahead and subscribe to Wdtb. They'll pick you up when you're feeling blue. So cheer up and so have a brew. Brew! Oh yeah.
Long-winded SNL ending.
Darling. Pleasant dreams. Yeah, from here.